Greetings and happy Good Friday and Easter weekend to all you out there who might be watching. There are a lot of recent news that I've had on my mind as of late and I could talk about, and maybe in the future I will, depending on how things go. But today I'm going to focus on the recent news of the burning of Notre Dame and share the mourning of the damage that was left in its wake. I've watched all the news at the scene while it was happening, even though I had to go to work as the news spread across the world. And I've seen all the amazing, tragic, and symbolic images everywhere online. Now, fortunately, there were no deaths reported in the burning, although one of the firefighters had reportedly suffered serious injuries, and I very much hope that he is able to recover. Most of the historic relics housed by the cathedral, including the Crown of Thorns, were thankfully rescued and preserved. And fortunately, the flames that decimated the roof and spire on the cathedral have been extinguished before they could consume any more of it to irreparable levels. Granted, the damage done is still going to take several years to repair, an estimated 20 to be exact, but the money needed for said repair has been put forward. The downside, however, is that it was just announced that it could be up to 3 years before the cathedral is open once again to tourism. Of course, this is not the first time in its near millennium-long existence that Notre Dame has suffered major damage and needed restoration. I've also heard about all the more appalling sides of the news, namely all the conflicting political views on Twitter. And I'm aware of how Christianity is apparently not safe in Europe, and they are especially prone to attacks from other countries with extreme views, in many instances more so than we are here in America. Please don't at me for any political misinformation here. I've never been good at understanding politics, and in my experience, most information depicting it tends to be extremely skewed and distorted in favor of the biases of the people giving the news. And I certainly don't condone some other bullcrap I've heard going on social media among certain film fans, especially Disney fans, making insensitive jokes or saying that this is some sort of sick karma or for certain news announced earlier this year. I'm not here to force my own personal views on anyone. I'm here to pay my respects and express my sympathies to all those who were affected by the incident and what this means for France, Europe, and the world as a whole. The cathedral is not only an important source of France's history and a popular tourist attraction, it's also been a cornerstone for people of all religions of the world to be able to come to as a symbol of hope and prosperity, regardless of what religion they worship. As someone who is passionate about the classic novel by Victor Hugo and all of its various film and stage adaptations, I recognize this as very serious. It's common knowledge that the man was one of France's most important literary and political figures, with both Les Miserables and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the latter's most important contribution being that it led to the preservation of the landmark. And as someone who loves to draw and paint worldwide architecture, especially photogenic icons like you see in Paris, and Notre Dame having always been one of my favorite subjects, yes, in no short part thanks to Disney's renditions, this event also makes me very sad. Yes, I feel I should bring up that there are several images across the internet depicting Disney's Quasimodo mourning the tragedy because it's just the version that most people in my country and generation are familiar with and were most touched by. Heck, even Disney themselves have pledged $5 million to help rebuild the cathedral. While I know and partially understand why most book purists and even Victor Hugo's descendants were disgusted by Disney adapting their work and marketing it as consumable for family audiences, even while by a lot of family standards it's still considered to be too dark for kids, I still think there's a lot more to it than that than they gave it credit for. Regardless of who it was made by and targeted for, or what changes were made to the story, for either better or worse depending on who you ask, that film itself was a major influence on several modern artists and film fans, myself included, and inspiring many individuals, not just Disney fans, to be better people, and inspiring the stage version that is also beloved by many, has been performed in several corners of the world, and provided many opportunities for deaf and disabled actors. I'd also like to give a shout out to this Facebook page I've been following called the French History Podcast, which has continuously kept me and its followers updated on the news of the future of Notre Dame, as well as providing us with little tidbits of info, including some on how Shenzhen is like the Las Vegas of China with its own mini replicas of world-famous architecture. In any case, I wish to close off with this message for the residents of Paris who were affected and any inhabitants of France who might have even the slimmest chance of watching this video. Mes plus sincères prières et souhaits sont avec toutes vous. J'espère que vous pouvez recouvrer en bien temps et je souhaite le plus bonne chance pour votre paix et culture. Vive la France et joyeuse Pâques à tous!